Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gyro, and today I'd like to share with you the most fun, kind of long overdue SRS Guardian build, which is a league starter for 3.22 Trial of the Ancestors League of Path of Exile. It is the most fun summoner build that I have played in a very long time, if not to say ever. Yes, I'm gonna go there and say ever. Why is it good? What's very good about it? And then I will tell you more about the build itself. Well, what's good about it is that once again it offers a very passive playstyle. You kind of take your dogs for a walk while they kill everything, except in this particular case it's not dogs, it's not even undead creatures per se, if we forget about the initial zombies that we're going to use here, but it is the sentinels. It's a Sentinel Army Guardian build, which I love. The whole theme of it, this kind of old Templar theme that fits into this character really well, into the archetype of the character really well, and also tongue-in-cheek. If you identify at least occasionally as a triggered or old man, as I do, then this build will just talk right to you, you know. If you don't want to play the flimsy witch again and run around with skeletons and phantasms and that kind of stuff, this offers such a different feel. It's a very different feel, as well as insane amount of damage output. It is so much damage on, like you would say, on a budget, but it's not even on a budget. It's just in rags, literally just yellow rare gear that you found with some barely capped resistances, elemental resistances, and just keeping up with basic kind of stats that you will see in PoE. Well, it is based on the build by the real James Humphrey, which I featured among my 5 popular builds video that kind of showed to you recent league starters that I think you should try, or should at the very least explore and see if they are right for you if you are a little bit late to 3.22 Trial of the Ancestors League of Path of Exile. I think so. His build is one of those 5, in my opinion, that are worthy of your attention. So I started playing this build, and you start as a Summon Raging Spirits Templar. Then you ascend as a Guardian, and you start boosting your minions, as well as you get the amazing Sentinel of Radiance. The author of the original build refers to the Sentinel of Radiance as Super Saiyan Dude, and I'm going to be referring to him as Super Saiyan Dude unless I forget as well, because he's definitely Super Saiyan. But as soon as you get an amazing skill called Absolution, I found Summon Raging Spirits a little bit boring, requiring a little bit of generation until you get a lot of them, numbers on the field, before they start doing a lot of damage that you need. And I simply played a lot of SRS builds as a witch, as a Necromancer Witch many times. That's why slowly, at first I leveled with both Absolution and SRS, but then I dropped SRS entirely, and I simply started playing with Absolution, Herald of Purity, and the Val Absolution. If you can get the skill Val Absolution, then it will also give you access occasionally to the Ascended Sentinel of Absolution, who does 200% more damage and takes like 70% less damage itself. So, and those waves of light, those waves of laser beams from the sky, they are from that Ascended Sentinel of Absolution, by the way. Sentinel of Radiance, as I just mentioned, we might as well address this, comes from your Guardian Ascendancy, and everyone talks about it on YouTube like, oh my god, it's broken, it's so amazing. Well, it is amazing. It's like basically having your own recruited Righteous Fire player, who is very slow. And I know there are ways around it. There are skills in the game that allow you to summon minions to yourself. You can just dash or leap slam everywhere and then just summon your minions, and that will pull basically the slow Sentinel of Radiance to you. But I'm simply so far okay just resummoning him when I need to. And I wouldn't say that majority of my damage comes from Sentinel of Radiance, but Sentinel of Radiance is very good too. Herald of Purity summons Sentinels of Purity as well, as you can see. And as you will see from the talent tree, what I'm also investing to is increasing the duration of skills, like how long the skill effects last, which basically makes those minions live longer. My Sentinel of Radiance, for example, lasts 40 seconds at this unfinished build state. 40 seconds is an eternity. He just marches on slowly, and periodically gets rubber banded and pulled to my little group of minions. So obviously you start as a Guardian, and obviously you are following pretty much the same as in James's Guardian SRS build. You are sort of first going up and left to take the nodes such as Righteous Army and Redemption. That is your first priority. That's where you're going. Then you're going right and up, and you are going to take Enduring Bond to increase the skill duration. I was just talking about this, so that your temporarily summoned minions last longer. And then you're also going to invest a little bit, obviously, into your health, and into your health over here with Cruel Preparation. Then we're going to continue this branching off towards the left and bottom here, which is going to give us a bit more life, otherwise we're going to be too squishy. And we're going to take Devotion as well, which also, in addition to everything else, that the good things that it does to your life, it also increases the effect of Consecrated Ground, which you and your minions are going to create all the time. Especially if you're using something like the increasing of the damage flask, which in this particular case creates Consecrated Ground on use. So that's one of the examples of where that works. Your first Ascendancy, unsurprisingly, is going to be the Radiant Crusade, which is going to give you that Super Saiyan dude who is going to, you're going to be summoning this very slow moving Sentinel of Radiance, who is going to be burning and doing damage to enemies around it. Amazing thing about it is that even at my level and even at my basically sucky gear, my Sentinel still has 30,000 maximum life already, and it's burning for 30% of its maximum life per second, to doing the damage to the enemies in a base radius of 45, which is pretty decent. They are burning quite far. It also gives extra elemental resistances to the minions, and it also is serving as a 20% barrier absorbing the hits onto me. So it's like a walking shield as well, which is tremendous. I'm sure you would agree. You can see that my gear is crap, but at the same time I'm trying to maximize the life of my minions and obviously the damage output. So I am using the Calling Wand, which does increase damage for the minions, increases spell damage, and also increases physical damage. It is not the best wand out there, obviously, but it does the job. In here I summon the Stone Golem. Yes, I'm running with a Stone Golem that increases minion maximum life, first of all, and also it grants extra regeneration of my life. Why not, right? I'm using Flesh Offering as a temporary buff to the minion damage, which is quite a lot. Almost by 30% it increases their attack speed, cast speed, and their movement speed, which is fantastic. But as you can see in the gameplay in the background that I will be overlaying over this video, you can see that I sometimes even forget or just simply don't need to use Flesh Offering. I simply don't need to. But on bosses you're going to be using it, of course you will. And Tempest Shield is one of our layers of defense, and I know that that is what makes this build a bit squishy and unfinished, evidently, before you start telling me about that. I know that. This is increasing my chance to block. Yeah, quite a big chance to block spell damage while holding the shield. Grants full immunity to shock, which is amazing. Yeah, and deals damage to the enemies if they really hit me with anything. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. So I am immune to shock, as you can see here. And there is block recovery modifiers, there is chance to block spell damage of 30%, and chance to block attack damage a bit low, obviously, both are a bit low, and we're not going to talk about estimated physical reduction because I'm not running Determination. My auras are not yet optimized. What else do I have? So over here you can see cast when damage taken support, which simply uses Immortal Call, that reduces the all damage taken by 25%. That's quite a lot actually in the moment, so it's important to keep cast damage taken support at level 1, and it's important to keep Immortal Call under level 3 so that these two can still interact with each other and not out-level each other. Determination, I'm simply starting to level. I intend to use it, but I'm not using it yet. That's for the end game. And Flame Dash is simply Flame Dash, nothing fancy about that. You will see a couple of uniques here, but they are absolutely not required, these uniques. Honor Dome, I simply had it, and I'm not gonna pretend that it's the best in slot or whatever, far from it. It's just simply an item that I had from one of my other league starters, and it simply had 4 sockets when 4 sockets were not yet available at my level range. It was great for that. And plus, it gives plus 2 levels to socketed gems, great. It adds lightning damage to spells and attacks, great. And it reduces the mana cost of skills, great. Yeah, not best in slot, but it's a useful, nice little helmet. What do I have in there? I have Herald of Purity. Herald of Purity is fantastic. Herald of Purity grants a buff that deals more physical damage, and when I kill an enemy, it summons Sentinel of Purity, which in my case, with my increases to durations, spell durations, minions will last 25 seconds. That's a lot, and they do a lot of damage as well. What else do we have? Now, we have Raise Zombie, of course. We start the game with Raise Zombie. Zombies are your friends. Zombies are simply my meat shields. I know that people use Spectres as meat shields. I don't want my Spectres to taunt and die. I want them to keep buffing my group. That's me running ahead of myself. That is why I'm not using Spectres as meat shields. I'm using Zombies as meat shields, before you ask, yeah? Now, speaking of Spectres, where are my Spectres? Where are my Spectres? Let's take a look. Here is my Spectres. Here is my Spectres. I can have maximum of 2. They have melee splash. Okay, that's cool. Probably could use something more useful here, but melee splash will do. And they are fast. They are fast. Now, what Spectres? You go to Ashen Fields, my friends. You go to Ashen Fields in Act 8, if I'm not mistaken. No, not Act 8. You go to Ashen Fields in Act 7. And there in Ashen Fields, there are 2 specific apes, big apes. One is called Carnage Chieftain, and another one is called Host Chieftain. Carnage Chieftain gives those green, those green buffs, yeah, the green little rotating thingos over them, charges, yeah, and the Host Chieftain gives the blue ones. Blue ones are increasing one parameter and green ones are increasing another. You'll figure it out. You're smart people, I'm sure. Alright, so that's what all my Spectres are doing. Now here we have Zombies, and finally we have Absolution. Absolution, I'm using Val Absolution and superior quality Val Absolution, as you can see. It's amazing. I love what it plays like. I simply like what it feels like as a skill. It has a direct hit. If you are hitting a rare enemy, it has a high chance of summoning the Sentinel of Absolution, or if you are killing an enemy, then Sentinel of Absolution is going to be summoned. The most fun part of this, without a shadow of a doubt, is when Val Absolution is available, and when that ascended Sentinel of Absolution is summoned. He does 30% more damage, 200% more damage. It lasts 30 seconds. Takes less damage, does heaps of lightning damage, and so on and so forth. And that's it, my friends. I absolutely recommend that you play the Triggered Old Man of the Sentinel Army, Guardian Sentinel Army. And I think it's a lot more fun in 3.22, Trial of the Ancestors. I suspect that Grinding Gear Games might nerf Sentinel of Radiance a little bit, because a lot of people on YouTube are just like, oh, it's like cheating, oh, it's like, you know, it's like the game is broken. I don't think so, even just purely based on the fact that it is moving too slowly to be so ridiculously OP. It's kind of like playing Righteous Fire, except when you delegated Righteous Fire to another player who is in your group rather than to yourself. That's about it. It's awesome. Gameplay is lovely. I'm enjoying it so much more than a Necromancer Witch. That's it, my friends. It's not really a full-on build guide, but it is a very strong build vector. You know where to go. Visit the real James Humphreys and his POB and his build for the starter, for the Guardian SRS build, and then you've just received my verbal kind of instructions as to how to transfer it to Absolution and to the Sentinel Army. And please check back, like the video so that more people can see it, subscribe if you haven't already, and check back, because I will absolutely, by the time when this build is finished, I'm going to add the POB to the description of this video. Not yet, not at the moment of recording of this video. As you can see, I am only level 68. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.